walnuts. Sad news today, my friends. Sad, sad news. Charles Martinet is officially stepping down as the voice of Mario. Nintendo put out a statement on Twitter this morning, and I'll just read it real quick. Charles Martinet has been the original voice of Mario in Nintendo games for a long time, as far back as Super Mario 64. Charles is now moving into the brand new role of Mario Ambassador. With this transition, he will be stepping back from recording character voices for our games, but he'll continue to travel the world, sharing the joy of Mario and interacting with you all. It has been an honor working with Charles to help bring Mario to life for so many years, and we want to thank and celebrate him. Please keep an eye out for a special video message from Shigeru Miyamoto and Charles himself, which we will post at a future date. So as you can see, it's sad news, but it's not all bad news. He's not stepping away from Mario completely. He's going to be the Mario ambassador. I assume that means he's still going to go to cons, still going to go to events. He's still going to be the Mario guy. So like, it's not nearly as bad as it could be. That is still very, very wonderful. I have not gotten a chance to meet him yet. He's at a lot of cons and I've just never been able to get to a con that he's actually going to. One of these days, I can't wait to meet him. It's gonna be great. And I'm really, really happy that I will be able to someday. But it is sad. And I feel like I already kind of let go. I was already pretty convinced that this was going to happen, in case you weren't around or didn't watch that stuff back at the Nintendo Direct when Nintendo revealed Super Mario Bros. Wonder. Probably kind of a small amount of people. It really was not a majority opinion, but myself and some other people thought that the voice of Mario in that game just did not sound like Charles. It just did not sound like it. Sound like an imitation. Sounds like a perfectly fine Mario voice, but not Charles. So to me, it seemed pretty likely that he was retiring or something. Just another monkey's paw situation, you know? I want to be right. I want to be right. Not like this. Not like this. Why does this have to be the thing that I'm right about? I didn't want to be right in this scenario. Anyway, it just goes to show, folks, believe baseless speculation. Whenever someone has a theory about something, believe it. No, just kidding. Don't do that. Don't do that. Really don't. Really don't. So back to the statement. Nintendo is not giving a reason why he's stepping down or anything. In the previous video that I did on the subject, I kind of went over, a lot of the options that I think are possible. A lot of the possible reasons why he would not want to do Mario anymore. And I'm not going to go over all of them again. I think at this point, after hearing the news, I feel like it's one or both of like two main potential reasons. Again, this is baseless speculation, so take it or leave it. I think one could just be, it's time to retire. Like, it kind of doesn't even matter what job you're doing or how fun it is or how beloved you are or whatever. You might just reach a point where you're just like, I'm just done doing that. It's time to retire. Just cash my final check, and I don't know if it gets royalties or what, but just chill. It is true that Nintendo does not do a lot of Mario games. I don't know how often he was recording. I don't know anything about the process of him recording. My first instinct is to say, going to cons and stuff, that takes a lot of energy too, right? Isn't that happening more than the voices? But at the same time, I don't really know how often he was recording, how much material he was recording that wasn't getting used. I remember there was an article, I can't remember if I mentioned this recently, but there was an article I read a super long time ago. I have no idea how to find it. Might have just been in a print magazine, but when he recorded for Super Mario Sunshine, I remember reading, he was talking about how he recorded like 1 million different takes for each thing, and he's like, oh, and then when you triple jump, then when Mario lands, it sounds a little bit more tired, and just like all these like little things. So yeah, I have no idea. For all I know, it was a really big deal. We're like, oh, all he had to do was say Yahoo and wah, but like, maybe not. Maybe there was more to it than that, and maybe just that process is just something he doesn't want to do anymore, because that is, I can imagine voice acting is a lot more difficult than it seems like it might be on the surface. So he might just be ready to retire. And also, it just might be that his voice does not fit the role very much anymore. As you age, your vocal cords change, and it's just, Mario is a very energetic and kind of a young character. Could just be it was getting too hard, I think either of those possibilities. There could be other ones too. We really don't know, and we probably will never know. It's a really, really big change. I know Mario, he doesn't talk a ton. There's not a lot of dialogue going on, but it's one of those things where, like, Mario has been in our lives for so long. You know, I can imagine that the impact of this is kind of bigger the older you are. You know, like, if you were playing Super Mario 64 when you were a kid or whatever, like, this means that this presence, this version of Mario has been along for most of your life. Like, that's me, nearly 30 years. His voice has been Mario, and Mario has been a big part of my life. I will say, however, I am a little bit more accustomed to this kind of change. I mean, it's never easy, but I'm a little bit more prepared for it. Being a Muppet fan, a lot of characters, you know, cartoon characters and whatnot, you know, they'll have voice actors, and those actors will change over time. I think for me personally, this really matches the whole Muppet thing because Mario has been around and consistently releasing material. There's always new Mario stuff. And the Muppets are kind of the same. Over the years, you see Muppet stuff again and again and again. So whenever you have a major change, whenever a performer retires or dies and you get just a brand new person performing a character, it's a big deal. It's kind of scary. It kind of feels like, it almost feels a little bit like that character has died. Not completely, but it's like that version of the character has retired and now only exists in the past and in your memories, and the new version comes along, and there's nothing wrong with the new version. It's just a change. It's just a really big change, and it can be kind of hard. And of course, in the case of Mario, I want to compare that to the case of Kermit the Frog. Steve Whitmire was Kermit my whole entire life. I was a little kid watching Muppet Christmas Carol, you know, like ever since then, it was Steve Whitmire. He was Kermit. That's who that character was to me. This is the case for a lot of people, loads of people. If it's been one performer for, you know, just decades, now all of a sudden, Matt Vogel is Kermit. It's a completely new person, and it's a really, really big change, and a lot of people are not happy about it. You will not slander Matt Vogel's Kermit down in the comments. You will not, because that is one thing. Opinions are opinions, and I think that's great. But you might get my blood up. He's doing a great job. A bit of an aside. I know I'm supposed to be talking about Mario. I brought up Muppets. Matt Vogel's Kermit is great. He's closer to Jim Henson's Kermit than Steve's ever was. It's just a big change. That's what I'm saying. You just got to get used to it. It's hard, but you know what? When Steve took over, when Jim Henson died, that was a big change too. Massive change for all those people who grew up with Jim Henson's Kermit. I'll get off the Muppets for now and get back to Mario, but you see what I'm saying. It's a big change. It can be hard, but you just gotta let it happen, and eventually we'll get used to it. I mean, I guess it'll probably be easier in this case because the new voice they got for Mario, most people couldn't even tell the difference, so I guess it won't be that hard. But yeah, for anyone who does feel it's a little bit strange, Mario, his voice is different, we'll get used to it. It'll come in time. We'll grow more just comfortable with it the more games come out. It's a change, but change isn't always a bad thing. Sometimes it's just change. It's just different. But of course, it goes without saying that we will always treasure the memories that we have of Charles Martinet's performance as Mario all of these years. I forgive me for not having the specific article handy. Again, I don't even remember when or where I read this. But back in the early days of Mario, everybody who tried to voice Mario was like, gravelly little, because, you know, he's from Brooklyn. He's a little short, like Italian guy with overalls and a mustache. So they all did him like this. And then Charles came in and he did something different with it. Did something different with the character, and it resonated so instantly. He gave Mario such a just a liveliness, this fun, bright, happy attitude that, as far as I know, no one else had tried with the character yet, because it was an unusual angle. When you look at Mario, especially, you know, artistic depictions back then, when you look at that character, most people are gonna think, little gravelly Italian guy. He saw something different. And by doing that, by tapping into something different, he kind of unlocked that magic for all of us. He made Mario into such a more, just a more wonderful character. He turned Mario into such a joyful presence, and I feel like that probably helped cement Mario as Nintendo's mascot more than anything else. Mario was obviously very popular, but when they entered the age of games with like voice acting and stuff, if Charles hadn't done that, I don't know what that would have done for the character. I think that made him so much more just fun and, I don't know, relatable, just more enjoyable to watch and listen to. And so whatever happens, however many more Mario games get made, however many more voice actors voice Mario, we've always got Charles to thank for the way that Mario is. He set the character on the path that he is now on. He kind of created the spirit and the personality that Mario now embodies. And I think that is, well, it's amazing. It's an amazing achievement, and it's super cool. I guess that's all I got. So thank you, Charles. Thank you for what you have done for this character and for us. Thank you for being a part of our lives for such a long time, for being a part of my life since I was a little kid. Well, thank you all for watching, and my personal comment-related request for this video. Charles Martinet's been to a lot of conventions and things. A lot of people have met him. I want to hear if you have ever met him. I want you to tell a delightful story about meeting him and how cool he was. That is what I want the comment section to be filled up with, please. I will catch y'all later. See ya.